This is a soul journey reading for Shay. Shay, thank you so much for your interest in this reading. I call this the soul journey reading because I really like the way the nodes talk about why we signed up for this life in the first place. So, this is with the idea that our chart is something that we co-create before we come into this life, with the theory that we have been here before. So, this is the idea of reincarnation in a way that we learned some things in a past life, we have kept some things, we've let go of others, including other people, and we come into this one ready to learn something new, to really evolve our soul. And our whole chart is working to accomplish this, with these nodal points being the anchors of all of the other experiences that we're having, with the North Node really being the North Star in our chart of where ultimately we're trying to get. And all the other things that we've set up is to help us experience this point, because we have not experienced this in other lives. So that's pretty complicated and heavy philosophies to just accept, and you don't have to. It is just the theory by which the nodes make the most sense. But some people who have different philosophies decide that it still is very effective to have a south node being something that is experienced earlier in this life, maybe not a past life. You absolutely don't have to buy into the past life idea necessarily. And then the north node would be something that in this one life that we aim to achieve. So whatever works best for you is how it always works. All of this is always just about whatever resonates for you. Looking at your chart, I went ahead and just pulled up the sheet that gives us some more information if you are curious about some of the energies in your chart. Since this is a focus on the nodes, we're going to spend most of the time looking at that. I'm going to just touch base quickly on your big three because that helps give me a feel for your energy overall. I think you have a lot of great strengths going on in your chart right away. I see some trines. I see some squares. I see a grand cross. You have a lot that you wanted to accomplish in this life, and you have a lot of skills to fall back on to help you do that. So, looking at your big three, we start with the sun in Pisces. This is nearing the end of the Pisces degrees. So, you already come into the sun energy of having a lot of motivations in life, propelling you to find conclusions. You're looking to understand more than to be understood in this life. You really want to get this connection to whatever is moving all of us. You really want to be connected in the flow of this collective conscious. You're you're interested in releasing ego and being more one with the collective conscious. And that's because that's what the Pisces is, right? It's the end of the experience. It's the end of the zodiac wheel. We have gone through all of the dimensions, all the archetypes have been experienced. There is this conclusion that we're looking for now, and this release of self, this release of partnership, this release of any way of identifying ourselves. It is the end of wanting to just go back to the divine and be one of the ultimate source. So, this would say that you have a really strong push towards spirituality in your life. And down here in the third house, conjunct your IC, it would say that you'll take on more of a private approach to seeking this. You're going to be more motivated in life to have personal connections with people. Your family is going to be deeply important to you. And in the sign of Pisces, it's even more than just your immediate family. It's the generations before. You might have this strong interest in history of your lineage. How far back can you trace who you are and where you came from? What did they all have in common? The sun being where we shine in our chart, what really motivates us, how we express ourselves, where we spend the time to feel aligned in ourselves is right at the base of your chart. So you're going to have this hunger to shine some light on where you came from and the roots that you're putting down for who you are. So it's a very personal placement here. It is less of an eye for the public at large and more for an introspective look to feel grounded in self. And the sign of Pisces, ultimately, it's to be able to feel closer to the one or the energy or whatever it is you believe that put you here to begin with. So it's a very spiritual energy. It's mystical in a way that it's not even encompassed in a timeline, really. You could feel the DNA in you from generations before. And it motivates you to keep looking in and growing your roots deeper. So I bring that up because your nodes actually square your sun, as does Saturn. And that's significant to this reading because our nodes are where we're going, and our sun is really our consciousness. But I think the square for you here represents that your nodes are always trying to get your attention. The square is asking to be a little bit uncomfortable so that we pursue change. When everything is smooth in a chart, we're kind of cruising. Sometimes can be because we had a more difficult past life and we want to take it easy this one. Um, if there's some other signs that point to that, but yours points to you want to feel the evolution of soul in this life. So you're ready to work towards that. And when the sun's involved with the nodes, it means that you're asking for this to come into play in your life on as a conscious level as you can get it. So you might have a lot of opportunities in life to work on your nodes right from the very beginning, but the sun involves something that we grow into over time. There's a sense of maturity in that. And when your Saturn is playing in this too, it's saying that your journey might be a long one in this life, and you might live for a while, and you might grow more into yourself over time. That the Saturn energy asks for slow, deliberate, disciplined movements. When it's squaring your sun in your chart, you can expect that maturity takes time, and self-expression is something that is not just given immediately. It's something that we move towards so that when we finally own it, we know that it's because of the work that we did, that we're not just born ready to be in the spotlight. We want to know who we are first. And with the sun on the IC, that makes perfect sense. You're very much wanting to know who you are before the world sees who you are. You're not wanting to take steps backwards in that. You'd rather move slower to get there and then be sure of it. So that's what that square suggests. That's what your nodes are suggesting. That on an area of consciousness, you're going to be presented with opportunities to work on the nodes, but that there's going to be the time of the course of the entire life to really feel like you're mastering either of those things. So the North Node and the Sun, then, we're assuming is going to take time. And the North Node opposing Saturn. So we have the headphones over here, that's the North Node. And then we have Saturn on the other side, is the same feel. It might things take longer and there might not be as many opportunities. Sometimes we feel that we're we're not making as much progress as we want to in that area. But the Saturn on the South Node too can say that the responsibility still lies in the South Node. So I may be jumping ahead a little bit. Let's just talk about what the South Node for you is. So, South Node in Gemini is in your seventh house. So, this is saying the gift that you brought into this world, the South Node, is something that you have mastered already. You either believe that you mastered it in a past life, you come in as your strong suit in your chart that you really wanted to keep to carry over into this life because you know that you owned this energy. And in this house, you feel really good about that. You're ready to teach other people about this energy. You basically embody this energy as you come into this round. And your north node would be then, since it's exactly the opposite, of this stranger energy that you don't feel really confident in, but you would like to work on that this time. Of course, you could also believe that in this one life, earlier in life, you're this Gemini South Node energy. And through life circumstances early in age, this is the energy that you accepted and worked with really well. So you are less likely to release it because you don't want to let go of something that is so easy to you. So in the seventh house, this is our house of partnership. This is really the only house in the chart that belongs to someone else. This is the partner. So when Gemini in South Node's in the seventh house, it's suggesting that you are somebody who can be so partner oriented that you can be putting aside your own agenda and motivations to pursue the ambitions of someone else. So you are somebody who is very deeply connected and concerned and spending time working on another person. What you do for yourself a lot of times is a reflection of how it's going to affect another person in your life. So the seventh house is specific to being a partnership. So it is one other person, where other areas in the chart could be many people or family members. The seventh house suggests a partner, which most of the time we correlate to a marriage partner, a spouse, a significant other. It can also be business partners, but for the sake of a node, it really pulls back into the primary relationship in your life. So for you, in different stages of your life, you're going to have different primary partnerships. In this part of your life, it is usually a spouse. And this is an area that you really are gifted in. You are able to cooperate, compromise, and set aside your own ego to work with someone else and make them feel like an equal. And it's so powerful to you in your life. Either your survival depended on it in a past life or earlier in this one, or you were able to get what you wanted through having a partner help you do those things. So this can mean that you're a very influential person in the sign of Gemini. This is the communicator. This is the person that in itself, it already is a duality. This is the first time in the zodiac where you've seen a sign be part of a union, the duality, the two of them. This is where the person realizes that there are other people and we want to know what they think. We want to communicate. This is the conversation that we're having. The what do you think? How is this experience impacting you? This is the sign of the student who is always learning, forever curious about the way the world works. So, in your partnerships, you are always going to be very open in communication because you genuinely are curious about what they're experiencing. You understand that you have your perspective and you understand that they might have a completely different one, but both are intricate to your experience. This is somebody who should always be communicating, always asking the questions. Like, there's no such thing as a dumb question, should be your motto. You might actually be very intelligent because a South Node Gemini person is usually very quick, very observant. like the scientific method in human form, having a hypothesis and testing it and collecting data are areas that you probably shine in, and being able to do many things at a time or be interested in many different things. Variety is the spice of life, but it is the motto of the Gemini. Having different things going on and no learning something is the point, that you always want to be mentally stimulated. And in your partnerships, you respect that when someone is also an intellectual, knows something about something they're interested in, and can teach you something that you didn't know before. Being constantly educated and even probing more questions is really what you're about. So, this doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be the best conversationalist or read the sources for fun. This is just that you are very interested in partnerships. You are the bridge of communication, and you are doing stuff in a partnership where you feel most safe and most complete and most whole. That's the gift you bring to other people who don't have this energy. There are people who do not know how to communicate at all, have no interest in what other people are thinking, and live their life in a tunnel vision of just what they already know. And that's it, and that's good enough. So you might find yourself involved with people like that. Especially with the Saturn conjunction here, it has this energy that you would attract people who are kind of set in their way a little bit, who already think that they're an authority on something. So they don't need to ask any more questions. And to you, you bring this energy of lifelong learning is what you signed up for. So why would you ever think that you know everything? And you teach people through maybe some really sharp-witted comment or question that makes them realize that they actually don't know everything and they aren't the ultimate authority. So you might be really good at debating or just pointing out facts that people didn't realize before that helps them undo their ego a little bit. So it suggests that maybe you could interact with people who are some type of authority, and you get to help show them that there is value in being humble and appreciating that you don't know everything, because it makes life more magical when you just go at it as a student. So that's the South Node. The North Node is where we want to venture, where we can be a little bit more uncomfortable, but where we ultimately need to go to feel whole and to feel evolved. We are always growing and changing, and the whole point is to experience something new. And the North Node is how we get there. So for you, you have this really great situation in your chart that your North Node is already in your first house. When you have a North Node in the first house, when you have a North Node squaring the sun, you are saying, hit me with it. I want to be able to be on the road that I can't hide from this. I want, even if it's uncomfortable, even if this makes life a little bit bumpy, that's okay. I don't want to miss this. I want to make sure that this happens. So in however you can give it to me, that's what I want. So in the mutable energy of your sun, squaring the mutable energy of North Node, you have an opportunity here to have enough bump in your story to see that you have had opportunities to work on the change. So the change is that you're being asked to, that you have chosen, is what I believe you co-create this. So you wanted a chance in this lifetime to really work on your own identity. Who am I outside of this relationship? Yes, I am really good at devoting myself to another person. I'm really good at understanding where people come from. That is a gift. You can understand people and situations very thoroughly. And the goal now is to be understood. So, who are you to the world? How do you present yourself? So, the first house is our identity, ourself. Um, some people believe that it really is our personality to the first house when you take your first breath into this world. The rising sign is what you breathe in and breathe out that is special to the time that you were born. So for you, that was Sagittarius. So the energy that you already carry with you is the energy of your North Node. So you have been gifted with this chance to really step into that power of Sagittarius in all that you do. The challenge here is that you don't get pulled back into other people's journeys, that you stay on your own. So when you're squaring the sun in your IC, it's suggesting that other people's past, the way that people have always done things, tradition of the family, expectations that other people have placed on you, maybe even before you got here, just the way things always have been and what role you were born into, they might have expectations already of who you should be. That's your sun is saying in that square. And then the opposition to South Node, which everybody has, but with Saturn there is saying, but your partnerships are demanding and they need your attention. And you're good at it. And people know that and they want you there. So now you have this powerful Sagittarius ascendant because, wow, how great of a gift that your North Node is your ascendant. It is who you are. But these strong demands of other people are always trying to pull you back into their stuff. And this is your chart. So there is energy that wants to be spent there. And these are all in the mutable energies. So it's just this constant flow of change, of having to be flexible, adapting, feeling like you're torn in different places because you probably are. I see somebody who is busy and has many talents, many strengths. Many people know that you're going to make things happen for them, that your ideas are going to solve their problems, and they want you involved. So the Sagittarius North Node challenge is, can I get tunnel vision sometimes to really stay on the topic that really interests me? So this topic is you. So to have the tunnel vision on yourself to where you can actually close some of the tabs that are open, to have the one topic that you really feel like you're going to become the mentor in. So if Gemini is the student, then Sagittarius is the mentor, the one who already has studied their whole life, that they have acquired this wisdom to now they are seen as the expert, the instructor, the professor of themselves in the first house. So this is somebody who has this confidence, this knowingness about them, that they know the absolute truth of who they are as their own individual. So the Gemini South node that's more comfortable sharing ideas, bouncing their ideas off of people, getting the group consensus before making moves, feeling indecisive because there's always more information. Sometimes the intellectual side of you can be paralyzing for making moves because there's just so many details to read into that the timer goes off and maybe you haven't actually done anything. Sagittarius side says, I trust my intuition. And it's less thinking and more trusting myself. And this knowingness that there's something higher than me that is guiding me in all that I do. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is about the divine trust and knowing that you're protected in what you do, that things are just going to work out. And since Sagittarius is your rising sign, you might already know this. Whenever things seem like they've gone really off course, you might just know that things are going to work out, and they probably do. Sagittarius rising people can be very optimistic when everything else is on fire. People look at you like, I know that you know we're gonna like make it through this, so what do you got? Like, how are we going to do this? You just have this sense of it's gonna be okay. And that's the energy of someone who really trusts their intuition. So the North Node here is really about being somebody who is so sure of their own intuition that they know the absolute truth about situations without having to fact check it, without having to be so caught up in research before they have an opinion. They just know, and they are somebody who is going to share that wisdom. It's not something that stays with you. It's not in just kept in your mind. There's a confidence and there's a need to share to people who don't know. The Sagittarius is the shaman in the mountain who comes down from the mountain every once in a while to share the news with the people of the village who look to him as the one who is the all-knowing. There's a respect there, and there's this feeling of being the higher person, the one who carries the wisdom, the philosophies that the people down in the village and the everyday don't see. So this suggests that you would have to spend time going on a personal journey, maybe actually a journey where you take some type of spiritual retreat, but in the very least that you spend some time for yourself, finding out what your philosophies are, what you really believe, who you are, how you express that just for yourself, and the time that you have to devote to getting to know the relationship that you have within yourself, and less about putting other people in front of that. Now, Sagittarius is a very loving, warm sign that is this hero, even sometimes, and is always thinking about others in a way that they can help. So it's not saying negate everyone else, but it's saying that the relationship that you have with yourself is the most important part of your journey this time, so that you at least need to have it on the radar. And the more you feel scattered and being pulled in so many different directions is very South Node. And the more time that you feel like, okay, I have this one focus that I'm really trying to nail down as far as what I believe is true about this and how I express this to others, that's how you know that it's more North Node. Okay, I feel that I am really in tune with who I am and what I stand for. And I'm not getting any type of discussion about this. I'm ready to express it in all that I do, even if that makes me seem unreachable from others. Because there's Sagittarius always has the arrow pointing up. They're always kind of a little bit more looking ahead, asking the bigger questions. They're not the ones that are just stuck in the everyday. So when you have these philosophies or these big questions of like, why are we all here? Follow those, because those are your Sagittarius tendencies. And there is time that needs to be spent exploring those options away from what your primary partnerships might think is important. You have to spend time thinking about that in this life and then embodying it. What your philosophies are is who you are. Sagittarius first house, you are what you believe. And well, you are whatever you think your truth is. And then that inspires other people, and it makes you feel really in love with yourself, that you found your truth in this life. And that's what you were really hoping to do. that is what all this adds up to. And the last thing I will say is that you have the mutual reception here of Jupiter in Pisces and Neptune in Sagittarius. So, mutual reception is when two planets take on the other sign's rulers. And this is an open channel of communication between these planets, then. Not everybody has this, but this is important for you because your North Node is Sagittarius and Neptune is in your 12th house in Sagittarius. Pisces is Jupiter, your third with your sun. These planets are working together. These planets are trying to help give you open lines to your spiritual house, your 12th house. So, whenever you have a chance to meditate, do anything that opens up your spiritual side, that's really going to help you get into this North Node energy. So this suggests that you would need to find quiet in your mind, which I know is not easy for a Gemini South Node, and really work on that quiet stillness where you can hear yourself, that deep self that is not so much this inner dialogue, but this deeper truth. And Neptune and Jupiter are both trying to help you do that. So just wanted to point that little piece out. And so I'll stop there. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to hearing from you. Take care.